told you to stay away from this light. I meant it. Now go on, beat it.
Never saw anything like it in my life. Head's ripped clean off. What do you think, Constable?
I don't know what to think. They're white as sheets. They don't look like they got a drop of blood left in them. We'll know better after an autopsy.
I bet old Sturgis knows more than he'll tell.
The Rinaldi brothers always fished out at the point.
The boat could have drifted back. How about it, Madsen?
I suppose you let me do the thinking. You take these bodies over to Kochek's, and I'll have Doc Jorgensen take a look at them.
I still think Sturgis ought to tell us what he knows.
Maybe he don't know nothing.
You want to bet?
Oh. All right, now quit your grumbling. Get him out of here. Okay, folks, you go on home now, will you? This is not a Roman holiday, please.
I need some supplies.
You see what happened to the Rinaldi brothers?
I didn't stop.
It was me that found them. I went out on the pier to look at my lobster traps. When I see the boat way out over there by the breaker line, well, it was low in the water and looked like it was empty. But I did not pay much attention until it drifted near the pier. Then I seen them, like slaughtered steers. Their throats cut clean. Funny thing, though, not much blood around.
That lens cleaner I ordered come in yet?
That'll be in next week. You know, the constable has the idea that they got caught in that squall we had last night and couldn't keep off the rocks. But if that was the case, I say they would still be on the rocks and nothing left of that boat at all.
Let me have a pound of liver and 2 of bacon.
If you want to know what I think, it ain't rocks and it ain't squalls. It's something living that did it.
Kochek, you talk too much.
No, that's what they said 2 years ago when that couple came down from the east to go fishing. They found nothing else but some debris washed up on the shore. Anything else?
Just my week's meat scraps.
It's 1350. You know, if this had happened when I first came here, there would be nobody said nothing about rocks and squalls. It would be the monster of Piedras Blancas. I'm not so sure they would not be right. You know, we should pay more attention to these legends. It would explain many things that happened in the last 30 years.
Kochek, you're a bigger fool than I thought. Now, where's my meat scraps?
You did not show up yesterday, so I gave them to Bert for his hogs.
You knew I'd be in.
I'm getting tired of keeping these meat scraps for you. Besides, Bert paid for it.
You idiot. You'll be sorry for this.
That'll be $3.
Where do we put them?
Wait a minute, I'll open up the ice room. Now, don't forget, we're burying the Rinaldi brothers in the morning. First-class funeral. Better not miss it.
What's biting him?
I didn't save the scraps for a stupid dog. I understand Doc Jorgensen's coming to look them over. I've got my own ideas of what happened. Come on.
Good morning, Dad.
You left early this morning, Lucille.
I had to open up.
I got the supplies so you won't have to shop.
Thanks.
Be home before dark. I'll have supper ready.
Oh, I've got to work tonight, Dad. Mrs. Madsen isn't feeling too well.
Oh. Got some nice liver. You always like that.
I'm sorry. I can't help it.
I don't like you coming home after dark.
Oh, I'll be all right. Fred'll bring me.
Don't be late. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Mr. Sturgis, can I have a word with you? I thought maybe you might be able to help me. Now, I know the Rinaldi boys always fished out to the point, and I thought you might have seen him. What time did the squall hit out there last night?
About midnight.
What time did you start the foghorn?
I blew from 11:30 till dawn.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't see anything unusual all night?
If I had, I'd tell you.
Just that I knew they always fished out there.
I've told them plenty of times. It's dangerous this time of year. Never can tell when a blow's coming up. But they wouldn't listen. Nobody listens. They'll learn someday.
What's aching him?
He is the most unfriendly man I ever knew. Oh, I'm sorry, Lucy. I didn't mean that. This business has got me upset, I guess.
That's all right, Mr. Madsen. I know the town isn't very fond of Dad.
I'll go see what Doc's found out. I don't imagine there'll be many people in for lunch today, so take the afternoon off if you'd like. Eddie here can take care of things.
All right, I'll see.
All right.
Your dad and the town always been at odds with one another?
No, not always.
What happened? Don't want to tell me?
Some other time.
Hey, lady, you gonna let a customer die of thirst?
I don't know why I let this upset me.
Oh, it's natural.
Dad isn't really like that.
Look, I'm sure he isn't. Hey, I've got a good idea.
What's that?
Well, I've got to go out to the point and pick some specimens. Why don't you come along?
Gee, I'd like to, but I haven't had a chance to clean this place all day.
You might not get another offer.
All right. Maybe the townspeople won't be hungry today, but I'll bet you will. I'll make some sandwiches and we'll take them with us.
There, you see, I knew there was some reason I wanted you to come along.
I'm not sure it's me or my cooking you're falling for.
Well, I always try to keep them guessing.
Oh, you do you?
Well, what happened, Doc? What'd you find?
Well, the jugular veins, the carotid arteries, the esophagus, the trachea were cut straight across. There was a complete transection of the spinal cord.
What?
In short, the heads were severed from the trunks. Death was instantaneous.
Well, how could it have happened?
I don't know, George. If we were living in the 19th century, I'd say they were victims of the guillotine.
You mean they were murdered?
That's your department, not mine.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was an accident.
Well, maybe it was, but I doubt it. The manner of death was identical in both cases, and it had all the earmarks of a conscious act.
Looks to me like the work of some inhuman beast.
Oh, that's a pack of nonsense, Kochek.
You haven't been here as long as I have, Constable. Have you not heard of the legend of the monster Piedras Blancas?
An old wives' tale, you know it.
Yes, of course it is. Now, it may have been a freak accident, or we may have a lunatic on our hands. Have there been any reports of strangers in the vicinity, George?
No, I haven't heard of any. I can check with the constable over at Windswept. Yeah, let's go over to the office. Look, Kochek, the whole town's upset. Now, keep your stories to yourself until we get this cleared up.
Do you really think you will?
Let's try this.
You fix the grub, ma'am.
You sound like a drugstore cowboy.
Flattery will get you nowhere.
I've noticed.
Oh, the townspeople don't know what they're missing.
Neither does Mr. Madsen.
Well, it isn't going to bankrupt the Wings.
Oh, I left $1 in the till.
I feel like a kept man.
Don't you worry. I'll get it back several times over. Remember, you're taking me to the Windswept Saturday night.
Oh, was that this Saturday night?
You know darn well it was.
Oh, that's right. Next Saturday night's Marjorie.
And the following Saturday, Imogene.
Imogene.
Kochek's prize Holstein.
Thank you very much. Now, can I have a pickle?
Help yourself. Fred, why did Mr. Madsen question Dad about the Rinaldi brothers?
Just a shot in the dark, I guess.
He couldn't think Dad had anything to do with it.
Well, I'll ask George, but I think he was just looking for a clue.
I guess so. But it worries me. I know the whole town's against Dad, and all he wants is just to be left alone.
Well, sometimes in a small town, that's asking too much. Oh, I gotta get going or I'll never get any specimens.
Oh, I love it here. I wish I never had to go back to town.
No, back in the house ring. Go on. Get in there now.
I don't know, Doc. There aren't any leads from Windswept. I haven't got one thing to go on except 2 mangled corpses and a busted-up boat.
I wish I could say I thought it was an accident, George, so you could close the books, but it just doesn't add up. You know, there was something I didn't mention to you in front of Kochek.
Oh, what was that?
You remember when I told you that the heads were severed from the trunks, almost as if by a surgeon's scalpel?
Yeah?
And yet the main arteries were distended several inches. It appeared as if something had been attached to pump out the blood.
I don't understand what you mean, Sam.
Generally, when a person is killed, the heart stops pumping almost immediately. There's always some blood left in the body.
Do you mean that there wasn't any blood left in him?
No, essentially none.
Sam, you don't think we got a monster on our hands, now do you?
No, I don't. I think that there's a logical explanation that we just haven't found yet. But if I were you, I'd ride herd on Kochek. Rumors won't help now.
If you take my advice, you lock the doors and stay in the house tonight. Oh, thanks, Mrs. Wilson. Don't forget what I said. What can I do for you, Constable?
You can do what I ask you to.
I was only telling Mrs. Wilson what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the trouble with you. You're always telling people what you think.
No crime in that.
In the past, no, maybe not. This time you got the whole town upset.
They got reason to be.
Oh, about the Rinaldi brothers, yes, but not about some monster.
You know as well as I do. Those two are not murdered by any ordinary human.
I didn't say anything about murder.
Are you giving out that bunk about an accident?
Until I'm sure, that's the official theory. And you better remember it.
Any 2-year-old can tell there was no accident. You should look up the history of this village.
Look, Kochek, I'm not going to argue with you. Now, I'm ordering you to stop the rumors. And if you don't stop spreading them, I'm going to lock you up for attempting to incite riot.
You can't do that.
You try me.
What's the trouble?
Oh, I don't know why people don't mind their own business.
Who, Kochek?
Yeah. He's got the whole town in a state of nerves.
He's a great talker.
I told him if he didn't quit it, I was going to have him thrown in jail.
Oh, you can't do that.
Oh, I know that, but I don't think he does. Come inside for a minute, will you, Fred? I want to talk to you. Come on, have a cup of coffee.
That Kochek's an idiot. If he'd spend half as much time tending to business as he does gossiping, we'd be better off. I ordered that cleaner a month ago. Next week, he says. I'll bet we don't get it this time next month. See why they can't leave us alone. We do our job. There hasn't been a wreck on this point since we've been here. Those two brothers go fishing. Next thing, people asking questions, prying into our business. They ought to keep away from the point. That's what the light's here for. Wish that girl wouldn't work nights. A lonely place to get to after dark. Come on, Ray. Come on, boy.
I'd invite you in, but it would only upset Dad.
He's gonna have to get to know me sometime.
Let him get used to the idea of us going together first.
Has he always been like that?
When I was a child, he was lots of fun.
What happened?
I remember it was just before my 9th birthday. Mother hadn't been feeling too well that afternoon. There was a ship in trouble off the coast, and Daddy had to stay in the tower. Mother got worse, but wouldn't let me call him until early morning. He phoned for the doctor, but he refused to come out in the storm. When they returned, Mother was dead.
I'm sorry.
They were so much in love. When Daddy was first transferred here, he wouldn't have anything to do with anybody. Shortly after, I was sent away to boarding school. It's just been in the last 2 years that I've even been home during summer vacations.
He must be a very lonely man.
He is. He lives in a world all of his own. Sometimes I can't even get through to him.
How's he gonna take me?
All right, I think. But it's going to be slow.
Well, we've got the rest of the summer.
It's a beautiful night.
It's almost too nice.
I haven't got a parlor I can invite you into, but I've got the best beach and rocks on the coast. Let's take a walk.
I'd love to, but if I don't get those specimens prepared I collected this afternoon, our trip will have been for nothing.
Well, you're very flattering.
I'm sorry. Now, you know I didn't mean it that way.
I forgive you. I'll be all right. See you tomorrow?
Night.
You're late, Lucille.
I'm sorry.
Did I hear you drive up a while back?
Mm-hmm. It was a beautiful night.
You've been swimming. How many times have I told you not to go swimming on that beach at night alone?
Daddy, you wouldn't have wanted me to swim with anybody. I forgot my suit.
I don't know what they teach you in college these days, but it certainly isn't modesty.
Independence, Daddy, independence.
All the same, this is a wild and desolate coast. There's no place for a young lady, or anyone else for that matter, to be out alone at night.
All right, I won't do it again. Tonight I had the strangest idea that I had a visitor.
What do you mean?
Nothing really, I guess. I just had the feeling that somebody was watching me.
You go swimming alone again at night, and I'm going to ship you back to that fine school of yours before vacation's over.
Daddy, you're not serious.
Yes, you bet I am.
You're really angry.
Better get to bed. It's getting late.
I'm sorry, Dad. Good night.
Good night.
Jimmy, you don't have to come to the cemetery.
Okay, Mom.
Mr. Kochek! Mr. Kochek! Hey, Mr. Kochek, where are you? Mr. Kochek! Mr. Kochek! Mr. Kochek! Mr. Kochek!
We lay these brothers to rest with this promise, that their untimely end shall not go unaccounted for, as we put them to rest in the good earth of their native village. I shall read these words, for they were men who lived and died by the sea. O most powerful and glorious Lord God,
at whose command the winds blow, lift up the waves of the...
Murder! Murder! Mom! Someone's been murdered! Mom! Someone's been murdered!
Who is it, Jimmy?
Mr. Kochek, he's dead. He looks awful.
Where, son? Where?
I went to his store to buy some candy, and he was in his office dead. And Mom, he didn't have any head.
Can you hold him here for a few minutes till I get back to town?
Yeah, sure.
All right, come on, Eddie, let's go.
We're not through here yet, folks. Let us repeat the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven...
Oh, this is no place for women and children. I'll send him home. Come on, please. Go on home. As soon as doctors looked at the body, we'll give you a report. Go ahead now. Eddie, cover the body with powder cloth.
How'd it happen?
You better have a look.
Oh, Eddie, you better get outside and get yourself some fresh air so you feel better.
Okay.
Yeah. And poor little Jimmy had to see a thing like this.
Is that Kochek?
Yeah.
Same way?
Complete transection of all the veins and arteries, plus the esophagus, the trachea, and the spinal cord. I couldn't have done a cleaner job myself.
And no blood again, huh, Doc?
Pumped dry.
All right, that does it. Now, let's have a look around and see what we can find. He must have been killed last night or early this morning. Now, look, this blob of ink here is completely dry. Now, I'd say that much ink wouldn't dry in less than 4 hours, Doc. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say 4 hours would be minimum.
Well, I drove by here about 10:30 last night. The door was open. So I stopped in to see if everything was all right. Kochek said he had to work late. It was hot in here, and he left the door open to get some air. It must have happened between 10:30 and 4 this morning.
Well, it's difficult to tell with a body in that condition. I'd say about 1 or 2 a.m.
Yeah, well, I'll settle with that. Fred, did you find anything?
No, nothing yet.
Fred, come here a minute. What do you make of this?
I don't know. It looks like a fish gill, but it's too big.
Well, maybe something he picked up on the beach.
Well, could be. But I've never seen anything like it before.
Well, let's take it over to my office. We can run some tests on it and look at it under the microscope, huh?
Might as well. Doesn't seem to be anything else around here. Let's go.
You all right?
Yeah.
Take the body in the ice room, Eddie. Lock the place up. Stay here and keep an eye on things. I'll send a relief over later.
Sure. Did you find anything? Maybe it was Kochek's monster.
Now, none of that. We got enough trouble the way it is. You two scientists have been dipping that thing in the solution for the last hour. Looking at it this way and that. Now, what is it?
Our good constable doesn't seem to realize that scientific investigation is a slow and tedious process, huh?
Sometimes taking years.
Oh, fine. We haven't even got days.
Oh, relax, George. I'll be through here in a minute. Fred, hand me that comparative slide, will you? No. Fred, come here, take a look at this. What do you think?
But there's no doubt about it. The two structures are similar.
What's similar?
Well, the structure of the specimen we found in Kochek's store is essentially the same as that of the diplovertebron, only larger.
What is a diplovertebron?
It's a prehistoric amphibious reptile thought to be extinct. Fossilized specimens have been found about 100 miles north of here. But this is living tissue.
Living tissue? I thought you said they were extinct.
This is not the scale of a diplovertebron. I simply said they were similar.
Well, what is it then?
I wish we knew that and how it got into Kochek's store.
Oh, well, he's always roaming up the coast fishing. It's probably something he found and brought home with him.
Well, maybe, but I still want to run a few more tests on this.
Yeah.
I think so.
And in the meantime, I'm no closer to solving my problem.
Well, that's about it until we can make positive identification one way or another. Even then, it may not help.
I can't do any good here. I might as well get back to the cafe.
Mr. Madsen! Mr. Madsen! Oh, Mr. Madsen, I've been looking all over for you.
What's the matter,
It's
Lucy?
Dad.
What happened?
I don't know exactly. I found him at the bottom of one of the caves. He's hurt, I can tell. He's unconscious.
Now, just take it easy. We'll go right out.
Here, Lucy, here. Take one of these. You'll feel better in a minute.
That's...
All right, can you make it?
All right, let's get going. Come on. Here, Doc.
Thanks.
Lucy, you stay here. Doc? Yeah, it's all right.
How is he, Doctor?
Has a bad gash in his right arm and his leg is hurt. I can't tell how badly until I examine him more carefully. Help me get him to his feet, huh? Now, be careful, that arm is hurt real bad. That's it. Now, George.
Yeah.
You get my bag, will you, please?
All right.
Now, let's get him to the lighthouse so I can give him a more thorough examination. Come on, come on.
In there.
Over there. Easy.
Would anybody like some coffee?
Yes.
Why don't you get some?
I'll be a minute.
She's taking it pretty well.
She's a fine girl, Fred.
Yeah, I know. Doc, how is he?
Well, he's had a bad fall, but he's the wiry type.
Doctor?
No, later, Lucy, thank you.
Will he be all right?
No, he'll need rest. Take some time for this arm to heal, and we'll have to be careful no infection sets in.
What about his leg?
Well, fortunately, it isn't broken. There's just a sprain, a bad cut. But I'll tape it up.
Thank goodness.
Honey, do you have any idea how this might have happened?
Nothing more than I told you. I went to bed about 11. I thought I heard him go out, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Was he alone?
Probably Ring went with. That's strange.
What?
And all the excitement I hadn't noticed. Ring hasn't been around all morning.
You know, I've never seen those two apart.
They never are, except when Dad goes into town. Then he locks him up. I'll call him.
Ring? Here, Ring? Ring? Come here, Ring.
I don't know where he's gotten to. He usually comes when I call him.
Oh, he'll show up. Lucy, here. Now, he'll probably sleep for quite a while. When he wakes up, give him one of these. If the pain is bad, 1 every 2 hours. Otherwise, 1 every 4 hours is often enough,
Would you take him to my room, please?
Oh, sure. Boys, would you help him? I think he'll be more comfortable in bed,
You bet.
Easy now.
All right. All right. Take it easy now.
Can he have something to eat when he wakes up, Doctor?
Well, yes, if he feels like it, but don't force him. Now, I'll be back later to have a look. And if there's any change, you can call.
Thank you.
Wish he'd have felt like talking. Maybe he'd been able to tell us something.
Well, it shouldn't be too hard to figure out, George. There was a broken lantern on the beach beside him. Now, he must have gone out last night when Lucy heard him. He went down by the rocks and fell.
Yeah, but that still doesn't explain where the dog is.
He's probably out in the moors chasing rabbits.
Well, maybe so. We better get back to town.
Yeah.
Look, take my Jeep. I'm going to stay with Lucy for a while. You can come back and pick me up later.
All right, Fred. Perhaps you'll be able to talk then.
Thanks for everything.
Anytime, Lucy.
You look bushed. Sit down, I'll get you a coffee.
I don't know how Dad's going to take this. He's never been sick a day in his life.
Well, he's just going to have to get used to it and take it easy for a while.
You don't know Dad and his lighthouse.
I'll come out and give you a hand. Maybe it'll give me a chance to get to know him a little better.
Lucy?
He's awake. How do you feel, Dad?
I don't know. What happened?
We found you on the beach at the bottom of one of the big cliffs. The doctor says you'll have to stay in bed.
But I can't.
You've got to.
I've got to tend the light.
Fred.
I'm sorry, sir. Those are orders.
What are you doing here?
He helped get you up from the beach.
Oh.
Would you like something to eat? Maybe some broth.
Well, I suppose you won't leave me alone until you get your own way.
It'll be good for you. Watch him, will you, Fred? I'll be right back.
Thank you.
That's all right. Do you have any idea what happened?
I'm trying to think.
Well, you must have gone out last night. Lucy said she heard you, and there was the broken lantern on the beach.
Yes, that's right. After she went to her room, I took the lantern and started down toward the cove.
Why?
She'd been swimming again, and I'd forbidden it. She's headstrong. And last night she had the feeling she was being watched. I went down to see what I could find.
Did you see anyone?
No.
There's been another murder.
Who?
Kocek. We found his body this afternoon.
He talked too much.
Mr. Sturgis, you've been around a long time. What do you know of the legend?
Piedras Blancas? Well, the coastal currents off this point are very treacherous. And the rocks on the seaward side are covered white with gull droppings. In bad weather, they're almost impossible to see. Many a ship was lost on those rocks before this light was built. There's not a record of any survivors.
Oh,